So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down everything that I've learned in real estate. Welcome to my channel, To the Top Real Estate Coaching. So in this episode, we're going to be going over expired listings. I'm going to show you how to find the expired listing. I'm going to show you what to say. I'm even going to provide you with the script that you can follow word by word and that you can implement immediately to set a new listing appointment. The problem with expired listings is if you have never worked expireds, you've never prospected into them, most people don't know exactly even how to find the owner's phone numbers or even where to go to find what has recently expired. So stay tuned, and I'm going to show you exactly what to do. There's so much opportunity right now with you as an agent if you learn how to obtain expired listings. For example, where I'm at right now in Salt Lake City in Utah, we have about 20 expired listings popping up per day. So that's 20 homes that are leaving the market unsold. So I basically think of it as I have 20 swings per day to set a listing appointment. So what I'd recommend is have a pen and paper handy. And right now we're going to go over the steps. So here we go. This is going to be step number 1. So here's how to find the expired listings. I personally like to use RedX. It's a lot easier. It's more efficient to be able to find expired listings. But if you don't have RedX, it's no problem whatsoever. What you'll want to do is just log into your MLS. So log into your MLS. I know that every MLS is going to be a bit different, but what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to sort the area that you're looking to work in. So I'd say the area that you're comfortable with, the area that you're okay driving to in running these listing appointments. So the first thing you're going to want to do, you're going to want to go to your MLS and you're going to want to set up a listing alert to yourself. So there's a couple things that I feel are very important that you're going to want to put in the filter. The very first one is rather than marking active listings, what's currently out there, currently sold, such as you do in a comp, is you want to search, you want to drop it down where you set it on expired listings. The next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to make it where the cutoff for year, just make it where there's a cutoff of 2021. And I say this because there's a lot of builders that are going to put a brand new construction lot on there, a brand new home that's to be built, such as that. And these are going to flood you with ones popping up as expired, but it still never got built. It never materialized, something like that. It's just going to waste your time. In my area, at least, when you get homes that are over 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, it does take a long time to sell these homes. And I don't want to inherit somebody else's headache. So I stop my search on expireds at $1 million. I also set the entry-level search at 300,000. I don't want to be selling any mobile homes, any manufactured homes, anything like that. So you should have your search set up with the following criteria. It should be set on expired listings. It should be set on the area that you're willing to work, the cities that you're willing to work, where you are willing to drive for a listing appointment. It should be cut off on year 2021. It should also be set where you have a cutoff. For me, it's around $1 million. And you should also have a minimum where you're comfortable. Mine, I did a minimum of 300,000. So here's a tip that'll definitely help you out. It helps me out a lot. So calling expired listings, I like to call expired listings the very next day, or basically as soon as they become expired, I like to call them immediately. The reason for this is because once a listing becomes expired, there's so many agents that are just waiting and they're going to be calling this person over and over. I've actually ran expired listing appointments the day after they became expired. And it's amazing to be able to talking to this person and their phone is just ringing. It just won't turn off. And they're always asking me, hey, how do you stop these calls? Right. So I like to call immediately right when they come up. You have a lot better chance setting the appointment if you're one of the first few that call and you have a compelling pitch to get you in the door. If an expired listing pops up, I'm not able to call it. Maybe I have appointments all day and I'm not able to reach it. I actually prefer to wait 3 or 4 weeks. I like to let their emotions calm down. I like to let all the calls, all the people that have just been calling them day after day after day, I like that to calm down. And then I'll actually run back through it. And even the ones I wasn't able to get a hold of, and I have a lot higher rate as far as an actual call to a conversion, which is an appointment set. So if you just did run the search and now you know how many expired listings are popping up per day and you can see that in your MLS, please comment below how many are popping up. I'm curious to get a temperature check on the market in different parts of the country. And you also want to know this number because I'm going to tell you how you're actually able to integrate that into your pitch to be able to help you get the listing appointment and to be able to set the right price on the home. So some of the MLSs actually show the owner's name. It's a requirement on the listing to place that. Some MLSs, you don't have to place that. So for example, where I am, you do not have to place the owner's name. So a lot of the time you won't see it. So there's a couple different ways that you can find the name. What I like to do, which I've actually found the easiest because it gives me one step to find the owner's name and also find the telephone number, is I like to go to People Search USA. So this is where I like to go. I like to go to People. I just type it out, People Search USA. The correct site to use is this one that is usa-people-search.com. And so for me, it's the best place to go. So let's say you go in, you find an expired. I'm going to do one here where I found the address 656 East, Spruce Glen. This is in Murray. I like to search by address first. I usually have the best success with this. If I can't find it, then I'll look up tax records. I'll start looking up the name and try to find it that way. This actually does match the tax record. Dennis Hansen, you want to click View Details, and here's going to be the wireless phone number right here. There's times on this where I can't get the person's name, but you will see family members. There's times I've called the family members and asked them. I said, hey, I actually show that you're related to a Bob Johnson. Is that correct? They say, yeah. I say, okay, I'm actually calling about the home that he had for sale on 656 East Spruce Glen. Do you mind if giving me his phone number so I can contact him for the home? A lot of time they'll give you the number. The interesting thing to think about this is the ones that are easiest to find are going to be getting the most phone calls. So if you do a little bit extra work, yeah, it does take longer, but there's going to be a smaller number of agents that are actually calling these owners and trying to relist the property. So now you have your expired listing, you have the owner's name, you have a contact number to try. So now what you're going to want to know is you're going to want to know the pitch. When you first try this, it's going to be very awkward. You're going to sound strange. You'll probably get hung up on. You're going to stutter. You're going to get stuck. You're not going to know what to say. And you know, I've seen actually agents where the first time they've tried this, they've picked up the phone, they've talked a couple lines, and they just look confused. During the headlights, they just hang up. I will challenge anybody, if you go and you try this for 1 week. So let's say you call 10 a day, maybe 5 of those answer. Out of those 5, you pitch them. You do that for 1 week, which is 25. I'm telling you, the next week, your skill will increase immensely. You'll sound a lot more confident. You'll sound more convicting. So here's a script, very easy to follow. So you're going to call the number that you found on USA People Search. They're going to answer. You're going to say, hi, is this Dennis? Yes, it is. Great. This is James from ABC Realty. I was looking at homes in your area and noticed yours was removed from the MLS unsold. Did you decide to keep the home, or was your agent not able to find any qualified buyers? That's always my intro pitch on this. You'll hear many different things, but the majority of the time you're going to hear, we didn't find a buyer. So this is an open-ended question, not pointing any blame whatsoever at their house, saying it was overpriced, saying it's been hard to sell homes in your area. All you'd be doing at this point is just losing credibility and possibly upsetting an already upset seller because their house didn't sell. So I like to give them 2 options and obviously not put any blame on them or say it's been hard in this market. If you do bring up the market and you say it's extremely hard to sell it right now, then it kind of limits you and what you're able to do, because they may come back and say, well, we're just going to wait. As you said, the market right now is really challenging. We're probably just going to wait till a couple months down the road. So again, I like to be on their page. I like to be understanding, hey, that is unfortunate to hear. I know it's a very emotional experience. It often leaves people wondering what's wrong with their home and why didn't anyone have interest buying it? But what we have found is a majority of homes that don't sell It either comes down to not having efficient marketing or the agent lacked experience and possibly even work ethic. Do you feel that may be the case? Then you're going to want to listen to their story. I think this is what's fun about working expireds is everybody has their own story. So when they're telling the story, do not get into details. I put this right here. A lot of people just want to sell, 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 which my saying and a lot of other people's sayings that you hear ever in a pitch, or you always hear in a pitch, is you have 2 ears, 1 mouth. So you always want to listen twice as much as you speak. So I listen to the whole story. I reason with them. I'm like, oh, yeah, understandable. Oh, what else happened? I do like to ask a couple qualifying questions. So you'll probably want to take note in this. I like to say, did you have any official offers that came over in the form of an email? Because verbal offers, a neighbor saying they're interested in the home, those are very different. Those are never going to materialize. So I like to ask them, have you had any official offers, anything that actually came over on a purchase contract through your email? This will give you a good gauge of how far off the pricing was on the home. They say yes or no. We had a couple. They usually had a couple low wholesale ones that were like 200 grand under. You'll usually hear that. Then the next question I ask, I'll say, well, how are the showings? How many showings do you think you had? If it was, and this is just me gaining ammo for my pitch and to be more informed of what I need to do to sell the home, because I don't want to be the next agent to get this home, to have it expire, to have it sit on the market for 6 months, not go anywhere, and lose my time and energy that I put into this, and then having somebody else call and somebody else pick it up. So I'm trying to just get a couple things on the phone and also be interested on what's going on with the property. So it's always asking if there's offers, and then it's asking, how many showings did you have? So that's about the only details I get. And then I noted here, your only objective on this call is to set the in-person appointment. Again, you don't want to start selling and say, oh, well, we do this and we do this type of marketing and we have this and blah, blah, blah. It's just the thing with appointments is when you set them is the more information you give somebody, the easier it is for them to make a decision. And we don't want any decisions made whatsoever till we're actually in person. We're actually able to prove value in front of that person and establish some type of relationship and credibility. So it's not your time to start selling yet. Plenty of that to be done when you're in front of the person face to face. So after their story, I reason with them and I say, hey, unfortunately, we hear this often. We have had great success selling homes that previously didn't sell. We've been able to sell them quickly due to our advanced marketing and industry experience. I'd like to stop by and see your home in person and introduce myself. Is it more convenient for you to meet in the AM or meet in the PM this week? Most of the time, again, you're not going to just have somebody, oh yeah, hey, tomorrow at work. When they do, great. But the reality of this call is you're going to get a couple more objections that you need to overcome. So here's some of the most common ones. And what you'll want to do is when you're making these calls, write down the objections, because what you're going to do is you're going to find you're only getting the same 3 to 4 objections over and over and over, right? So if you're getting those same objections and you write them down, then when you're off the call, you're going to start thinking of what you can say in the very best lyrics possible to overcome those objections, because it's going to start getting to a point where you do this so often, it's going to be muscle memory. And someone's going to give you an objection. You already know it's coming, and you have a way to overcome that objection relatively easily. In some of the next upcoming episodes, we're going to talk about response blockers. We're going to talk about different concepts and techniques where you're able to prevent the objection from ever even surfacing in your original pitch. But that's a little bit more advanced, so we're going to save that for down the road. So you're going to ask for the appointment. Is it better to meet in the AM or PM this week? So you're usually going to have, well, how much does this cost? We all know that's coming, right? So how much is this going to cost? So my lyrics that I typically use is, it doesn't cost anything out of pocket. There's only a cost associated if we bring you an agreement that you find acceptable. And what we have found is the majority of the time, we're able to net our sellers with the dollar amount they're after, which covers the majority of the expense, which I'd imagine you want to net the most money possible. Is that correct? Because what that does is it's overcoming the objection and then gaining agreement, which is a tie down, and it's getting them to say yes, which gets them back on the right path to allowing you to come see the home. So I'll say, which I imagine you want to net the most money possible. Is that correct? And they say, yeah. Okay, great. How does tomorrow afternoon look? Once you overcome an objective, you're going to ask again for the appointment. So think of that after your original pitch, you hear their story, whatever comes up, you're going to overcome the objection, immediately ask for the appointment. They give you another objection, you're going to overcome it, ask for the appointment. So I usually go at this rate for about 4 or 5 requests before I start thinking about exiting the call. So I'll say, great, how's tomorrow afternoon look? Well, what percentage is it? It's a great question. Why our clients like working with us is because we have a service menu. So in our meeting, we'll go over exactly what services you need to be sure your home sells quickly for top dollar. I look forward to showing you with this when we get together. So how does tomorrow look at 2 p.m.? I have that open, right? So they'll say, oh boy, well, I don't know. Can you do 4? My husband will be home at 4. Yep, absolutely. And what I'll do is I'll send you a quick text message. Does this phone number that ends in the 4238, does it accept text? Yeah, it does. Okay, great. What I'm going to do is just text you over my information. I'll also just give you a quick reminder for our appointment at 4 p.m. I'll text you right around 3 p.m. And then what I'll do is when we hang up, I'm going to start preparing now. Again, I appreciate your time. I look forward to seeing you then. Thank you. And you're going to get off the phone. You're going to simply set the appointment. Once they agree to meet, that's all you want to do. You want to do that. I like to send my contact information because when they tell their husband or tell somebody else, that person's going to say, who is it? And a lot of these people aren't going to remember. They're going to say, oh, it was, God, I can't remember the guy's name. And then that person's going to say, well, if we are going to try to list it again, we're going to use so-and-so, or we're going to use our nephew, Timmy, whatever it may be. So I like to text them over my name, my information. When I send that over, it's in a contact card. If you don't know how to do this in your iPhone, it's something that you'll want to learn sooner rather than later. But send them over your contact card. It's professional. It'll have your email, your website. I also send a profile, just a quick headshot, just because they can actually see who they're speaking with, and it makes it a little bit more comfortable for them when you go and knock on the door to know it's the correct person that's coming over for the appointment. So that is how I set the appointment. It's very simple. It's very, very quick. Again, just keep in mind your goal is to set the appointment. You want to get in front of somebody face to face. You're not trying to sell anything over the phone. So there's the pitch. It's very simple. And keep in mind, when you are setting the appointment, your only goal is to set this appointment. You're not trying to go over anything. You're not trying getting a listing agreement over the phone. You're not trying to sell anything. You're not trying to prove additional value. All you're doing in this appointment is being understanding and saying, hey, I totally understand where you're coming from, and letting them know you've helped others in their situation. If you haven't, I'm sure somebody in your office has, so you can say, we have helped others that are your same situation, where we've worked with people, their home, the first time around was not able to sell, and we are able to use our additional marketing and our market expertise to get this home to sell for them quickly, which I'd imagine if we find you a qualified buyer that's willing to pay what you want, I'd imagine you'd still be willing to sell the home. Is that fair to say? So your only goal is to gain agreement to get them to meet you in person. The biggest problem with trying something new, any type of revenue generating technique, or even a new lead source, is you have to give yourself enough data to be able to make a decision if it's something that's going to work for you. So if you only make 10 calls, you don't set an appointment, and you quit, you never try to work expireds again, you're selling yourself short, and you're setting yourself up for failure, because most different things that you try in this business, and you try for only a very short period where you still haven't sharpened your sword, you still haven't got more efficient at it, you still haven't been able to dial in your techniques or overcome objections, you're going to fail on most of the lead generating activities that you try. So what I would suggest on this is try this for 1 month. I know that sounds like a long time, and I'm not saying give up everything else that you're doing during the day. What I'm saying is if you set yourself up on the listing alerts, like we talked about earlier, let's say you're getting 8 to 10 expired listings per day in your area to call, you'll probably only have 3 or 4 of these people answer that you're able to speak with. So if you're already penciling out and time blocking let's even say an hour of your day to call these expireds, do it for 1 month and see what type of results you get. Do it for 1 month so you have enough data. You start understanding your call to close ratio, and then you can start understanding your actual in-person pitch, your appointment to listing agreement ratio, because then you're going to start putting numbers to this and you're going to start knowing if it's worth your time or if it's not worth your time. As you make these calls, if you keep getting the same objection over and over and you're unable to overcome that objection, you keep getting hung up on it, please comment below and I will do my best to respond and give you lyrics to give you the best possible chance of overcoming that objection and then again asking for the appointment. If you're hesitant to pick up the phone and make these calls, I do recommend having a partner do it with you. I think it's a lot easier where if you have somebody else trying something with you new and you feel you may be uncomfortable, I feel it's easy to have somebody else doing it with you. So what I'd recommend is find somebody else in your office and have them do this exact same thing. So you're going to say, hey, I'm going to put together a list of 20 expired listings. I'm already going to have the names, the numbers figured out. If you put together a list of 20 expired listings as well, then let's meet tomorrow. Let's meet somewhere, or you can do it via Zoom, but meet and then just take turns making the calls one after another. So if you like the content in this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing to the channel. In the next video, I am going to show how to run a listing appointment. So this is going to be something that you can use when you set the appointment for the expired. This can be something you use if you set in a listing appointment for a friend, family, FSBO, what have you. I'll go over in detail what you do from the very second you arrive in your vehicle all the way through to actually asking them to sign the listing agreement. So next episode will be good. Please tune in and I'll see you there. Thanks.